Watcher to 6 actual. Target is in the main house. You have execute authority.
Bravo 6. Going dark.
How's it going, troops? Jordan here, back again with another Call of Duty Modern Warfare Loadout video. Today's loadout video is going to be yet another nostalgic one, and it's a loadout that I had a lot of fun creating and playing with in Modern Warfare multiplayer. So let's go all the way back to the year 2009. Avatar is killing it at the box office, Assassin's Creed 2 has just had a great release, and the noughties is coming to an end. But there was one thing, one game that stood out in 2009 that wasn't just loved by all gamers, but became a worldwide phenomenon. It saw praises for its progressing achievements in the first-person shooter genre, but also it saw a lot of outcry and came under fire hugely by the media. It can only mean one thing. Yes, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And so today's loadout is all about being a Modern Warfare 2 veteran. So without further ado, let's take a look at our mission briefing. This is going to be a class setup replicating a popular loadout from Modern Warfare 2. We're going to be using weaponry, equipment, perks and killstreaks from Modern Warfare 2. And lastly, this loadout is going to include new features that were first introduced back in 2009 in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, some of which returned in the following games and others not so much. So to start off with this MW2 veteran loadout, we need to equip a primary weapon. Now in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, there was a vast array of popular and fun weapons to use. We had the ACR, we had the UMP-45, the Intervention, the SPAS-12, the AK-47, the TAR-21, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, weapons like the Intervention and the ACR aren't really in Modern Warfare multiplayer. You could say that the Kilo 141 looks very similar in terms of its stock, being very similar to the ACR. But when you put those two weapons side by side, they don't really look alike at all. But there was one weapon in particular in Modern Warfare 2 that was very powerful, that was so fun to use and was very popular as well. And that weapon was the good old French FAMAS. And luckily for us, the FAMAS is in Modern Warfare multiplayer under the name FR 5.56. FR standing for the weapon's country of origin, which is France, and 5.56 being what it's chambered with. And so for our primary weapon, we are going to be going with the FR 5.56, also known as the FAMAS. But we can't just go in bare bones, so let's take a look at some attachments that we're going to be equipping with this weapon. For our first attachment, we're going to be going with an optical sight, and that optic is going to be the operator reflex sight. If you look at the red dot sight from Modern Warfare 2, and you compare it with the operator reflex sight within this Modern Warfare game, the two are very similar in terms of frame. Plus the red dot sight in Modern Warfare 2 was very popular on the FAMAS, so we're going to be going with the operator reflex sight, replicating that red dot sight from Modern Warfare 2. For our second attachment, we're going to be going with a weapon perk, and that weapon perk is going to be Sleight of Hand. Sleight of Hand or Sleight of Hand Pro in Modern Warfare 2 was a very popular perk in that game, and in Modern Warfare multiplayer it comes as a weapon perk, and so we're going to be equipping Sleight of Hand just so we can speed up our reload time. And finally, for our third attachment, we're going to be choosing a rear grip, and that rear grip is the stipple grip tape. The stipple grip tape allows us to aim down sight faster, as well as shortening that sprint to fire time. The reason why I've chosen this rear grip as our third attachment is because with Sleight of Hand Pro in Modern Warfare 2, you could actually aim down the sight of your weapon much faster with the Pro version, and so we're going to choose this attachment just to replicate that. And those are going to be our attachments for our FAMAS. So let's take a look now at our secondary weapon of choice. There were a few secondary weapons in Modern Warfare 2 that did stand out a lot, weapons such as the SPAS-12, the M9 or even the Desert Eagle. But I think for me one of the top secondary weapons in Modern Warfare 2 had to be the good old 44 Magnum. And plus it was the first time that we could use a revolver within the Modern Warfare series, so the 44 Magnum is definitely one close to my heart. In Modern Warfare multiplayer however, there isn't a 44 Magnum as such, but there is the .357, which is a revolver and similar to the Magnum, if not pretty much identical, and so the .357 is going to be our secondary weapon of choice. So let's take a look at what attachments we're going to be choosing for this pistol. For this loadout we're only going to be choosing one attachment, and that attachment is going to be FMJ. The reason why I've not chosen any other attachments is because there was only 3 attachments that were available on the Magnum back in Modern Warfare 2. And those attachments were FMJ, the tactical knife, and of course akimbo. The tactical knife isn't in Modern Warfare and neither is akimbo, but FMJ is an attachment in Modern Warfare as a weapon perk, and so that is going to be our only attachment that we're going to be equipping with our .357. So those are going to be our primary and secondary weapons of choice for this MW2 veteran loadout. Now let's take a look at our perks and equipment of choice that we're going to be rolling with this class setup. For our tier 1 perk, we're going to be choosing Scavenger. Scavenger allows us to resupply ammunition off dead enemies, and was a very popular perk within Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, and so that's why we have chosen Scavenger as our first tier perk. The only real difference between Scavenger in this game and Scavenger in Modern Warfare 2 is that in this game you can't resupply your equipment, but in Modern Warfare 2 you could. For our tier 2 perk, we're going to be choosing Kill Chain. In Modern Warfare multiplayer, if you want to get your kill streaks, you have to get kills with your gun. However though, with Kill Chain equipped, any kills that you get with your kill streaks in that current life will count towards your next kill streaks. And this is exactly what kill streaks were like back in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. It's one of the things that made Modern Warfare 2 so fun, and so Kill Chain was definitely an obvious choice to make. And finally, for our tier 3 perk, we're going to be choosing Tune Up. Tune Up reduces our charge time of our field upgrade by 33%, which means that we'll get our field upgrade a lot more quicker. We could have gone with a perk like Battle Hardened, which would have been equivalent of Blast Shield, but Blast Shield wasn't really a popular piece of equipment in that game, and also there's a reason why we have chosen Tune Up, as you'll see when we talk about our field upgrade. So those are going to be our 3 perks of choice for this MW2 veteran loadout. Now let's move on to our equipment. For our lethal slots, we're going to be choosing the Claymore. Now I had a bit of a tough time deciding on whether to either go with the Claymore, which was a very popular piece of equipment in Modern Warfare 2, or go with the throwing knife, considering that that was the first time we could use the throwing knife in Call of Duty. But since we're replicating a popular loadout, I felt that the Claymore was far more popular, and also it's very nice to get some kills that just leads on with your kill streaks. Simply place a Claymore down at a door, or in the corner of the room, or even on some stairs, and fingers crossed you'll end up getting a free kill from the blast radius, and like I said, it just helps to lead on with your kill streaks. For our tactical slots, we're going to be choosing the heartbeat sensor. Now the heartbeat sensor was a new feature in Call of Duty and in Modern Warfare 2. Back in Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, the heartbeat sensor was actually in the form of an attachment, in which enemies that weren't using Ninja in Modern Warfare 2 would show up on the heartbeat sensor and give you a rough estimation as to where the enemy are. Move on forward 11 years later, and the heartbeat sensor returns in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but this time as a piece of tactical equipment. In game you pull out this little tablet, and any enemies that aren't using Ghost will show up on the heartbeat sensor. This can be useful if you are next to a room and you want to just double check to make sure no one is in there, give or take the 50-50 chance that someone might be running Ghost. But in terms of performance in Modern Warfare, it's not very useful, and it definitely isn't as useful as it used to be back in Modern Warfare 2. But since this loadout does include new features that were first introduced in Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty, that is my reason as to why we are choosing the heartbeat sensor. So those are going to be our perks and equipment of choice for this class setup. Now let's finish up this loadout and take a look at our field upgrade of choice, and also our 3 kill streaks that we're going to be selecting. For our field upgrade, we're going to be choosing Stopping Power. Stopping Power rounds give us increased bullet damage against any enemies in our way, and was one of the most popular perks in Modern Warfare 2. This was a little bit of a tough choice to make, considering we also have Dead Silence as a field upgrade, and Ninja in Modern Warfare 2 was a very popular perk as well. However though, I do feel that Stopping Power was just a little bit more popular than Ninja, and so Stopping Power is going to be our field upgrade of choice. So now let's move on to our 3 kill streaks. For our first kill streak, we're going to be choosing the Cruise Missile. The Cruise Missile in Modern Warfare is very similar to the Predator missile that was used in Modern Warfare 2. This missile drops in from a high altitude on the map and falls down to earth in a loud explosion. This kill streak is very fun to get double kills and even triple kills with, and the blast radius is just about as powerful as the Predator missile was back in Modern Warfare 2. For our second kill streak, we're going to be choosing the VTOL jet. Back in Modern Warfare 2 we had a kill streak very similar to the VTOL jet, and that kill streak was the Harriers. Much like the Harriers in Modern Warfare 2, the VTOL jet swoops in onto the map, dropping in a barrage of missiles before going to match 5, doing a 180 flip, proceed back down onto the map, and taking out any enemies that it can detect. In my personal opinion, I feel that the VTOL jet is actually more powerful than the Harriers were. I think I've got PTSD just from hearing the VTOL jet roar above my head. So that's why we're going to be choosing the VTOL jet as our second kill streak. And lastly, our third and final kill streak for this loadout, we're going to be selecting the Chopper Gunner. The Chopper Gunner in Modern Warfare 2 was honestly probably one of my favourite kill streaks in that game. The fact that this Apache helicopter could fly in onto the map, and you had an unlimited supply of bullets in your turret, plus there was no cooldown time, which meant you could just continuously spam bullets at the enemies, and even when the enemies spawned in, they still had no protection unless you were using painkiller, which made using the Chopper Gunner very effective for attaining a lot of kills. And plus the Chopper Gunner in Modern Warfare 2 was a fantastic kill streak that would lead you eventually up to the nuke. In Modern Warfare multiplayer however, the Chopper Gunner is very similar to what the Modern Warfare 2 Chopper Gunner was, give or take a few different things. First up, there is a slight delay in between when you fire at the enemy and the bullets actually hitting where you shot. I think there's two reasons why Infinity Ward went with this idea. The first is that it does make the Chopper Gunner a little bit more balanced and not unfair as it was back in Modern Warfare 2. And the second reason is that bullets are now classed as projectiles, and so the bullets aren't line traced like they used to be in previous Call of Duty games. Furthermore, with the Chopper Gunner in Modern Warfare, you also get some missiles, which can easily get you an extra few kills, especially when the enemies have just respawned in. And also you can actually move the Chopper Gunner around the map, which in Modern Warfare 2 you couldn't. Combining our weaponry, perks, equipment, field upgrade and kill streaks, we will be the ones that rewrite history. After all, history is written by the victor. So troops, that wraps up my Modern Warfare 2 or MW2 veteran loadout video. Next time you boot up Modern Warfare multiplayer, definitely give this class setup a try in game and have a lot of fun reminiscing those good old days that Modern Warfare 2 brought. If you did enjoy this loadout video, then do give the video a thumbs up, I would appreciate it a lot. If you have any friends that are interested in this sort of content, then make sure to share the video with your friends to help give my loadout videos and also my channel more widespread exposure. Looking at my YouTube analytics, I've noticed that about 88% of my viewership comes from people who have not subscribed to my channel, and so if you really do love this sort of content, then definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button and also click on the bell notification button that's right next to it. That way you're always notified as to when I make an upload. I've also noticed that my 2020 SEALs loadout has gained a lot of popularity and a lot of attraction, so keep an eye out in the future for more military themed loadouts, since it's something that a lot of you want to see and is also something that I really want to do as well. So until the next video, I thank you all for watching, stay true to me troops, and I'll see you in game.